Hello, psychology class. This is Dr. Benhar. I wanted to explain the concept of classical conditioning. It is one of the theories to explain how we acquire behaviors. Keep in mind there's also operant conditioning and social cognitive theory that you could find also in the chapter. Classical conditioning is great at explaining how organisms acquire involuntary behaviors that have a physical and or emotional reaction or component to it. So as you can see here, classical conditioning occurs when an organism learns to connect or associate stimuli. Just as if, let's say, you had bad sushi in a restaurant and you got sick from it, food poisoning, you may refrain from eating sushi at that particular restaurant, or it may generalize and you may refrain from eating sushi in general, and possibly even not going to any Japanese restaurant. This is an example where classical conditioning takes place in which we associate a stimuli with a response, a stimulus with a response. So let's start with terms here. Unconditioned stimulus is the US or sometimes UCS. S stands for stimulus, and I'd like you to think of stimulus as a trigger. R stands for response, which is also a type of reaction. A stimulus always causes a response. The U stands for unconditioned. Let's take apart the words. U is basically means unconditioned. Un is a prefix in Latin which means not. So when we say unconditioned, we means it's not learned, and you can think of it as automatic. So food is an unconditioned stimulus that causes an unconditioned response in all cases. Why? Because it's an automatic trigger that causes an automatic response. You present dog food to a dog that's hungry and the dog automatically salivates. A bell is considered NS, a neutral stimulus. And the idea is that no conditioning or learning has taken place, so a bell basically evokes no response. Just as a preschooler goes to preschool for the first time, the bell has no significance regarding a fire drill until the child learns that the bell represents something. Now, the way classical conditioning works is by pairing or association takes place between a neutral stimulus and an unconditioned stimulus. So the bell is a neutral stimulus. It goes ding, ding, ding. You present the dog food, which is unconditioned stimulus, and it evokes an unconditioned response. In the first trial or first couple of trials, the unconditioned stimulus is what's causing the unconditioned response, just like up here. But if you pair them together, the neutral stimulus takes on the properties of the unconditioned stimulus. It gets associated. Therefore, you go ding, 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 dog food, the dog salivates. The dog is really salivating to the dog food. You pair it again. Ding, 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 dog food, salivation. Ding, 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 dog food, salivation. After a couple of trials, what you will find is that the bell becomes from a neutral stimulus to actually a conditioned stimulus. So notice that the conditioned stimulus now was originally the neutral stimulus. Conditioning means learned and stimulus means trigger. So in this case, the conditioned stimulus causes a conditioned response. If you notice that the conditioned response and the unconditioned response in this example are identical, but that's not always the case. It is possible that a conditioned response becomes a learned behavior in which something that the animal or human being does that differs from the unconditioned response.